it's Dragoness here from the Crystal Cavern.
And Fate from your grandmother's backyard. She had me digging up tomatoes all day today, and I was almost late for this whole thing, so. But yeah, we had a few points to go over today for people that may be about to debut for their VTuber career. And we just kind of wanted to cover those, maybe give you some tips, some pointers, and some letdowns from our own personal failures in this. Things that we may have, or may be willing to use or should use when we debut.
That's mostly you, Fate.
That's mostly me, yes.
So, Fate, tell me, what's the first thing you should do when you're preparing for a debut?
Well, when preparing for a debut, the first thing you should do is test all of your stream settings. That means that you want to test your audio, you want to test your scenes, you want to make sure that all of your capture settings are correct, obviously. And one of the things that you can do is actually create a secondary Twitch account so that when you're testing these things, you just stream to that, have someone, go and watch it, make sure it all looks good. That way you're not going live on your primary account.
Oh, I very much agree to that. Considering I have one myself, of course, I'm not going to tell you the name because it's a test account. Well, considering that I have, let me tell you a funny story. I did a test stream on my main Twitch account, right?
Yeah.
And I got raided on my test stream. So I have to then raid with these viewers to make sure they have somewhere to go. It's just a very awkward situation. More of the story? Get a test account.
Wait, hold on. So you stream to your primary account trying to test your settings, and you got raided.
Oh yeah. It was so stupid. It was also a very great time.
Yeah, so, moral of the story, as she was saying, test all of your things, all of your settings, on a secondary account that nobody knows about, because if you get rated trying to set your bit rate right, it's awkward, but it does happen. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So, now that we have that covered, what is your first step when it comes to preparing for a debut?
Okay, so sometimes in a debut, you're not always gonna have like thousands of viewers, right? And sometimes even if you do, your chat's gonna get quiet. You need to practice talking to yourself. So like, narrate things that you talk to, like you're playing a game. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Say it out loud, but I understand that sometimes if you're like really focused on something, you go a bit silent. And people understand that because they'll be watching you kick ass or do something great. Just gotta practice. Like a tip I can give, talk in the mirror. As crazy as that sound, before stream, have little chats with yourself. You're not crazy for doing it. It's called preparation. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
So basically what you're saying is to practice talking for when there aren't people there?
Yep.
So that if somebody were to come and check out your stream, they wouldn't just be met by silence.
Exactly.
The more that you talk, the better it is.
The first, let's say, when someone joins, you've got from when they joined about 30 seconds to capture their attention, right? And if you're silent for those 30 seconds, they're gonna leave, unfortunately. And it's not like YouTube. YouTube, they might come back. On Twitch, they're just gonna be like, oh, that's that person. They might not come back,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's quite a few people's streams that I check out. Some of them are really good, and they'll have one viewer, and they're just telling a story. It might be about a rock in the game, but then other people, you tune in, and it's just cricket chirps for 5 minutes because they don't know that I'm there.
Right? You're more inclined to stay if you're hearing them talk.
That's right.
Talk about anything, like anything in your day maybe that you've done, just anything. It don't have to be game related.
Yeah, like that snort noise that she just made.
So, another thing you can make sure is ready for your debut is to ensure that your alerts function, because nothing's worse than someone following and you don't even notice. And they don't even notice, they don't feel welcome. They want to feel welcome. Let's just say little Timmy follows and you're like, you ignore little Timmy. You want an alert to come up like this, for instance. Bam! See that? That's my alert. It'll come up every time someone follows. Thank you for the follow. You can always use your OBS to test them, to double check, make sure, just like that. That's how mine appeared. Obviously, there's not a clone of Violet Dragoness following. If not, I'm about to DMCA strike someone. Just make sure your stuff's working to help yourself out and to help people feel welcome.
The follow alerts for viewers are really important, as she was saying. There's nothing worse than jumping into a smaller stream, just say 1 to 20 viewers, and following them, and they don't acknowledge it. Obviously, there's not many people that will be watching this video that are, closer to the 500 viewer range, because you do miss things when you get a larger viewer count. So while you're small, and especially while you're debuting, those moments of acknowledgement are very important. It makes people feel welcome. So make sure that you have that working.
Nothing's worse than showing up to the stream and then you don't get that welcoming, so you just leave. It's like you don't feel appreciated. Appreciate your viewers. They're the ones that are going to make you grow. A loyal fan base is good.
And you want to make your viewers feel very poggers.
Stealing my vocabulary, are we, Faith?
So something that's a lot more common these days with VTubers starting out now are hardware options such as leap motion and trackers for full body tracking. More commonly leap motion, which is now called ultra leap. One thing you want to do before you get started, make sure that your Ultra Leap controller is set up properly. There's a calibration phase that you have to go through with it that requires that you point it at your monitor and paint the screen some silly color of green. But what you want to be sure of is to do that, because if you don't, and you go live, and your debut has started, there's people waiting, and you hold your hand up and it does this. Yeah, it's gonna look pretty silly. So you want to make sure to calibrate it and just ensure that it's functioning properly before you get started. It's actually a 200 IQ move.
Faith's the expert on this one. I do not yet have a leap motion.
Don't do this either, because it messes with your facial tracking, and then people just think that you look really silly.
That's the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life. So, Faith, you got any other advice?
Something that people struggle with when they first get started is they don't quite know what to do as far as entertainment. One of the things that you can do to keep people interested is to have your talking points together. When you're not in a game or you're not answering questions from chat, just have a small list of things that you want to cover. If no one's asking you questions and there's nothing going on, such as trying to collect the 5 stars from Genshin, Lord help us all, you can have a list of things to just cover, such as information about your character, things that you like and dislike, favorite games and art, what you ate last night, and just talk about it. Make sure that you cover them, and as you do, go down the list and check them off.
I agree. Having a nice list is good. I have a mental list. I don't have an actual list written down. There's a lot of random stuff I talk about.
You don't use a list?
It's a mental list. So I don't write it down. It's in my brain.
Okay, but from my understanding, you're not very good with scheduling and stuff. So I'm just really concerned if there's a lot of things that you miss when you're going through your mental list.
Don't call me out, Faith. Another thing you want to do is make sure your Twitch page is set up. Nothing's more off-putting than seeing a Twitch page that's empty. For example, let me show you my testing account page. Obviously, it's not gonna have anything, but it's got a good example. Empty, right? Completely empty. You do not want that. You do not want that. You want something akin to this one. As you can see, I've got panels galore. Custom art, artist links. Those are very important too. Unless you make the stuff yourself, make sure you include your artist links. It helps the artists. Anything you want to say on that, Fate?
Yes, actually. When someone joins your Twitch page, a lot of the times they'll look at chat to see how busy it is. They'll see what's going on the stream itself, and then they'll quickly scroll through your information. If you don't have that filled out, then they don't know your rules. They don't know, really anything about you. They don't know how to follow you, say on Twitter or wherever else you may have content. And things like that are really important. So be sure to have those things set up and prepared so that people can use them.
There's nothing worse than no rules. Rules are really important. For instance, some streamers might not like certain topics. Include that in your rules. Some streamers might not like certain words, for instance. Make sure you include that.
So besides your Twitch panels being done, another thing that you can do is keep in mind that besides Twitch panels, what you really want to do and focus on for your viewers during your debut is to stay focused on them as much as you can. That means that you probably don't want to play a very heavy game. Something that's going to draw a lot of your attention away. Something like Battle Royale or Doom and just fast-paced games that you have to pay a lot of attention to. Try something a lot more passive, even if it's pinball or Minesweeper. Just something that you can look away from to check chat and, oh yes, Tim, I really do like those shoes. Thank you for suggesting them. And then go back to what you were doing.
Minesweeper's actually pretty interactive. You can get your chat involved, be like, hey, which one should I click? If I die, your fault.
Yeah. If you have moments where you can blame things on chat, make sure to do that too. Because believe it or not, they love it.
Exactly.
Looking at you, chat.
Looking directly at you, but we love you. So you want to make sure that you keep interactivity with your chat up, no matter how many there are. People love when you talk to them. They come to interact with the streamer. After all, if they wanted to watch something like not like that, they just watch a YouTube video, right? So you kind of just want to keep talking to chat. Ask them anything. Sometimes you might even get someone who's lurking come and speak up because there's a topic that they're actually really interested about. Even if people are lurking, they're watching. And let's say you bring up a topic about shoes. Someone might be like, yo, I like them shoes.
Damn, Daniel. Back at it again with the white fans.
Pretty much that, exactly. Just always stay talking to chat. Don't forget they're not there, you know?
Yeah, it really makes everyone feel welcome. So if you are able to focus on your chat and respond to things that they may ask or say, it kind of feels more personal. And they're more likely to stick around for more than just your debut. And that's really what you're looking for, is to retain those viewers.
Exactly.
So tell them about your shoes.
Damn, Daniel built that community. And those are 8 things that can help you debut. What do you think, Fate?
I think that's 8 points that would help me out a lot if I were about to debut. I feel like they're very helpful.
They are. I mean, I wish I knew about them when I did. Truth be told, my debut came halfway into my streaming career, I guess, rather than the start.
That's true. I was there for it. Yeah, she kind of debuted way late. But if any of these points just help you out, even if it's a small way, make sure to tell somebody about it. Because there's a lot of people that are starting out that may be anxious, worried, or just overthinking the whole thing. And you really shouldn't be. Get your things together. Make sure they work. Remember that the focus is supposed to be on chat and not so much yourself, and you'll do fine.
Exactly. Remember, Twitch is a big community. Always keep that in mind. And Twitch has like the subsections of community. VTubers, for instance.
That's you, most likely.
Whoa. I couldn't imagine a real live streamer debuting as themselves.
Well, I mean, they do. They just slap the go live and they're like, hey guys, I'm live today. Make sure to slap that bell and subscribe.
There's no bell on Twitch. But yes,